All right, check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming back for another episode. We're into the 200s. I think this is 219. Oh shit. And we got a great guest, a dope guest. He has a special out called Lefty, touring stand-up comedian, written on SNL, just a cool dude. Please give it up for Nimesh Patel, everybody. Nimesh Patel.
We did it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, my man.
Yes, sir.
To the Cannabis Coffee Hour. You already had your coffee, right?
I already had my cannabis, too.
You already had it. We got here, we're at Alta. This is a cannabis shop right here in Williamsburg. We're on Graham Avenue. This is like, what would you say?
Dead center, Brooklyn.
Dead center. This is where iced coffee was born, right down here. TV on the radio, lived up the street. This is hipsterville galore. But they got a great cannabis shop. Check out Alta. This is more of a subscription-based club. They have DJs and shit, and they've been cool enough to give us space and cannabis. You had a hit of this joint. Where are you at with cannabis these days, Nimesh?
I'm trying to cut down on smoking in general.
Check.
I just know that my lungs are no longer 25. I can just, every morning I wake up, I'm like, why am I so wheezy? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I smoked weed last night. I still fuck with edibles, but in general, it's probably like once a week now, unless I'm around Mookie, in which case, it's like 3-4 times a weekend.
Yo, shout out Mookie Thompson, who's directed a bunch of my stuff. I did a short film series, and he also just finished directing Nimesh's special, which is on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
That they got the sickest cameras I know. And then it was at, where was it? Williams Music Hall?
Music Hall of Williamsburg. Shout out to Music Hall of Williamsburg.
They have great shows there. That's a cool spot with dope bands. And you guys sold, did you sell it out that night?
We sold out 2 shows. Yeah, it was, we tried to pack as many people in there as possible. We debated doing standing room only, but that would have been too many unknowns, variable-wise. But yeah, no, it was a fun spot. It reminded me of Matchless, the show I used to run with Che and Denny out in Greenpoint.
That's when I first started hanging with Nimesh. They had this show on Mondays, Matchless, but it was Michael Che from SNL, and then this other cat, Danny, that was dope, that would host it.
Michael Dennis.
Yeah.
Mike Denny.
Mike Denny, who's actually making beats for Griselda, is what I heard on the street these days. But I don't know if it's true. I hear shit.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, I could see him in there.
Yeah.
He hasn't popped up since the pandemic. It's good to see you. I haven't hung out with you since the pandemic.
It's been a long time, You haven't changed at all. Cannabis is keeping you young looking, it feels like.
Yeah, my move is I stopped drinking like booze like at 25, started going into cannabis. I started performing stand-up at 27.
What made you stop smoking weed? I mean, drinking.
Drinking was the hangovers. It was the hangovers and my mood. My mood, I would get depressed and kind of bummed out and lethargic.
That's what alcohol would do to you?
Yeah, that's
while you were drunk?
The next day.
Okay.
No, I was a fun drunk. I had a blast in college. I had a blast all my young 20s. I didn't start doing stand-up till I was 27. I raised hell and did all of it, but almost to a point where, I just know the scenario. I just know how it's all played out. And being creative, cannabis was the better tool. Like I used it as a tool.
Yeah, for sure.
To ditch from, like these dudes opened up shop, they were out drinking. Like I always used it as a way to get away from drinking. Like I hung out with great dudes and great girls. We had a great group of friends, but I think right around that early 20s and mid 20s, Coke starts coming around, late night partying comes around, and my body and mind just weren't going with it. So and then I moved to California. I was like, yo, this weed is the best out here.
Weed is definitely a creative tool for sure.
But it can burn you out. Like I do want to be honest with this podcast, and I like what you're saying. Most people I know that are my age that were hardcore smokers are doing edibles mostly now, like for the long run, and a lot for sleep. I think sleep is, do you use it for sleep?
No, it does make me sleepy, but if I use weed for sleep, I don't have the best night of sleep. So
That's true.
you know, it's been a wild weed journey for me. I used to be so square in high school, college. I'm still kind of square now, but I thought weed was like the devil.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's gonna fucking ruin your life. And remember when I was 16 or something, my cousin like hotboxed. My cousin was older than me, and him and his friends like smoked weed and shit. But I was at his house one summer, and then his boys are gonna pick him up, and I didn't suspect that they were gonna hotbox the car. And it's not like it was a Toyota Corolla with like 6 of us in it, so it was fucking packed, and I had no like breathing room. They were hotboxed the shit out of it.
Oh shit! What year was this? 90.
No, it was 2000. It had to be like 2002, probably. I was,
yes, early
2003. Yeah, like I was a junior or sophomore or junior in high school.
Gotcha.
They hotboxed the fuck out of this car. And they went to Costco. So I was my first time being high was in Costco, and like I was like, I don't feel weed, and they were like, you were giggling like a little schoolgirl, like singing fucking, I forget what was a hot song at the time. It was not hot, but it was popular. It was The Fray, not The Fray. It was Stop and Stare by, what was that fucking? Stop and Stare. Like we were just crooning that in the car for some reason.
It feels national-ish. Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck it was.
Okay.
They're not around anymore, I don't think, but that was my first time being high, and even that felt like, this is like I don't like this feeling of not being in control. I'm giggling like an idiot. And in college, I was the same way. I think my junior, senior year, I got high as fuck for the first time ever. I was like, oh, I've been missing out on life. But, you know, at those times, I would be drinking and smoking. So, like, I couldn't really distinguish what was causing what. I was just fucked up.
Right.
And fast forward to now, like, I think I started smoking. There was a point where in like 2000, I would say 14 or 15, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she like went on vacation with her sister. And that summer I smoked nothing but keef out of a bowl for like a month. And I was like,
I've done that too.
I had no feelings afterwards.
Yeah,
I was like, you're not supposed to be living life like this.
Right.
And then I was like, am I addicted? And so then I stopped for a year straight, like nothing. I didn't smoke anything. I had edibles at the Oscars, name drop. But like, because
Nimesh wrote for the Oscars for Chris Rock.
in
Name
2016.
drop. 2016.
Not this latest fiasco, but outside of that, I was like, okay, I wasn't getting anything from it except like giggling and saying dumb shit.
Right.
I wasn't using it creatively. I was just kind of using it as an escape. Because at the time, if I look back at it, it was right around the time I was super stressed because my job was ending. My day job was ending.
Yeah.
And like, it was like 6-month countdown into the job ending. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I'm not a touring comic or anything like that. And so I realized I was using it wrong. And so then I quit and I started my relationship with weed again in like 2016, 2017. And then I found myself using it a lot when I was super stressed. And so that's what made me realize I probably shouldn't be smoking it as much because I was using it as not using it correctly. And now as I've progressed, like I use it creatively.
Right.
Or if I'm like gonna be on a podcast about weed, I want to be authentic, you know?
Yeah.
But outside of that, like I'm trying to wean myself off of anything I find net negative or in health negative, you know?
Yeah. It's a low frequency. Like you want to go for higher frequencies.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes either it's drugs or caffeine, pornography, all this shit like can bring your
Porn.
vibe. You can bring your vibe up or you can bring your vibe down.
You can be addicted to porn? That's why I got a privacy screen on my phone.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what people don't know about my addictions.
Everybody's got to, like my whole thing is you got to have at least, if you go viceless, completely viceless.
You're a psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, but the more I'm learning about meditation and I'm learning that your true self is between the words. And if you can get to a point, and that's why I loved how honest you were with this conversation that you just had, because I've been trying to move it a little bit forward and be honest with myself with my smoking and everything. And yeah, it's not really the best to do it when you're stressed out.
No.
But it's also, as a guy on the road, and especially as you get older in your 30s and your 40s, your knees start to ache, all this stuff, and to sleep. Like, I use it then. Like, I kind of use it as like almost a life solve.
Yeah,
like rub on the bones a little bit to get going.
The lotions and shit.
Mostly just smoke a joint and then visualize it.
Well, I think like bring up the road. There was a point earlier in end of March, beginning of April, like we had just shot the special, and I still had like a month's worth of touring left before I could take this break that I'm on now, and I was just like tense about what I was going to talk about. I had nothing to I had no new ideas. I've been saying the same shit for a year. When you make a special, like, you have to iterate on what you don't have to, but
yeah, you are super prolific. This is your third special, and your TikTok is over 1 million.
Thank you.
You're always clipping it up, and it looks awesome. You're always writing.
I'm trying. It's like I really don't know what else there is to do at the moment, just like tour-wise, and I do enjoy the freedom that it allows. But, when at the end of the month, after shooting the special, I was like relieved that it was done, but then we had the hour then we had to, there's like 3 things you film, right? There's what you wrote, what you shot, and then what you edited. And so like that last part was still done, and what's it called? Like, I was still on the road trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to talk about. And like, I had not smoked for like 2 or 3 weeks because I caught myself like smoking a lot. My lungs were kind of feeling a little off.
Yep.
And then
gotta listen to yourself.
I was in Palm Beach, and my friend Ed Larson was with me, and like he had some weed on him, and we smoked, and I was like, oh yeah, like it does help. Like, if you're tense about something, it will like untense you.
Yeah.
And like, I was just tense about not having anything to talk about, not writing or anything, having writer's block effectively.
Yeah.
And then once I smoked, I was like, oh, this is what I was missing. Like, I like to get high and pace around my hotel room and bullshit, but I hadn't done that for a long time because like, I don't want to smoke until the special, like just keep my head clear. And once I did that, I was like, oh yeah, it's very helpful in like those kind of situations.
Yeah, it's not all that, like, it can go either or. Like, a lot of it's with your mind, but I will say some of my more positive vibes and positive thoughts have been when I'm high, smoking cannabis. There is like an idea even in Rastafarianism is just, if you're positive, if your heart is clear, then it's time to smoke cannabis. Like, if you're not doing it for like just hiding out, like you said, or, when you're stressed out, you're kind of doing it as a celebration and opening up, and that's and kind of being social with it.
I found that I can't smoke in social situations
At all?
I can't, like, I can have like a hit, but like if there's like a party going on or something like that, I can't smoke a lot because otherwise I get super like caught up in how I'm speaking. I get not paranoid, just like very self-conscious about everything I'm doing. If I smoke too much, and I'm like, we're out at a party and I leave after smoking, it's because I'm fucked up and I'm like, I can't talk to anybody.
Yeah, usually I leave, but I always love smoking, and if it's a lot of stoners there, I can deal. I don't know. I just been dealing with it for so long.
I think people are just much better smokers than I am.
Yeah.
Especially because unless I'm around family, I'm like conscious of knowing that I'm quote unquote a comedian. So it's like, and I'm like high as fuck and everyone else is high as fuck. Like I feel like this subconscious burden to like carry some
conversation,
comedy in a conversation.
Yeah. No, you just said that to me, and I'm probably, for the audience, being a comedian, there's this weird, one of the bummers is that people want you to be funny all the time, even when you're out and about. So when you go to like Easter parties or family events or or whatever you go to, you know, anything, everybody kind of hits you up to be funny, or the focus of the attention, which is not what I ever wanted.
No.
Which is, you know, it's always good for a party situation. You want to be the person that's not known. You kind of want to lay back in the cut. Yeah, and observe and maybe get into something.
Yeah, it's like the irony of comedy, you know. It's like we're so desperate on stage, but then once we're off, it's like, I don't want to talk to nobody. Leave me alone. Yeah. Like I was at the Knicks game, like a Knicks game forever ago, like 2012 or something. I remember we had decent seats. It was me and Che, and we were sitting right by the tunnel where the players exit. And you know they had cameras like tracking people, the players and stuff. And the entire everyone in our section got like mad amped and tried to hop on camera and stuff, and me and Cherry were just like, it's like the irony of like our whole existence is to be in front of camera, but like we don't want it when it's there, you know?
Yeah, it's work. You know, right now I'm working. Thank you for coming out and doing this. And you just said that, not to, I mean, I know he's not dropping a name, but it is going to the Knicks, the basketball squad in New York City with Michael Che. You're getting good seats.
No, this was before he was Che. This is
really? You guys were hardcore Knicks fans that you guys scored tickets from a buddy, shook somebody down?
No. The job that I had, they had. Yeah. The company had tickets.
The company, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There's always a shakedown.
They just gave us I was like, there's only like 20 people at the company. And it was a hedge fund, and like the owners of the hedge fund had like tons of money, so they had season tickets. Right. And like very good seats, and like if they couldn't go.
Take a client out, you smoke some weed, you do some coke.
That's not what they were doing. Exactly. It was just they were just like, we just put your name in a hat, and whoever gets if you can go, you go. And so I won that day. It was Knicks versus the Bulls. Derrick Rose was like peak form, but it just so happened that we were there, and like. You know, they were tracking, I forget who they were tracking exiting the game, but everyone was like trying to hop on camera, and me and Mike are just like, and Mike pointed out the irony of it all. But
but I've never been to a Knicks game, so I'm just tripping. I've never been. I've been to the Nets. In DC, I grew up seeing the Bullets. Like, I love going, and I'm not really a sports dude, but basketball I do, and I have seen it live. Even I'll watch high school if I'm hanging out with somebody, or like with my brothers who jock. You know, he just loves basketball and hoops and shit.
Watching basketball high the other night, Lakers, Grizzlies.
Oh, it's the best.
Game 6. Was it game 6 or game 5?
So it's the finals right now?
It's the playoffs.
It's the playoffs,
It was the first round of the Western Conference. The Lakers played the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies blew them out. Lakers won, go Lakers, but they were blowing them out, but the Grizzlies were playing, and I was high out of my mind. I took
And where's the Grizzlies from again?
Memphis.
Memphis. Oh, that's a good, I would check them out. Yeah.
They're great. They're a fun team to watch, but I was high as fuck off an edible, and like it was like the edible was like at its max feeling when the Grizzlies were blowing the Lakers out, and I got this vibe that the Grizzlies were just like in crazy sync, and it was like a cathartic high experience when like it just kept going. Like they were like I was like, basketball high is the greatest fucking thing ever. If you're watching good basketball when you're high, it's insane.
And they're running plays. Yeah, when they're running plays and running the game like the way it's supposed to run. Yeah, it's a magical dance. It's sick. Did you play basketball growing up?
I played basketball poorly growing up with my cousins and stuff. Never like at a high school level.
But went hard in the backyard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just went hard for hours.
I was tripping people and hitting people in the nuts well before it was du jour.
Did you ever smoke weed? People used to love smoking weed. Guys I knew liked to smoke weed and play that basketball.
No, I mean, again, like high school, college, I never touched the stuff. It would have been interesting.
Let's cut this for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to run out.
Have you ever been high at the Knicks game? That's what I was tripping out. Like I see a lot of comedians going to these games on cool tickets and stuff.
I'm sure I have been high at a Knicks game when I've had good seats.
Yeah.
Like I've been fortunate enough to sit on the floor and like a courtside and stuff, and it's always just been like, if you're high, like it kind of, I don't know if it makes it go away, the adrenaline of it all, sure. But they are like, it is a very crazy high experience seeing the largest people on the planet. Like I don't think TV does athletes any gives them any fairness, but like basketball players are the biggest play. Like there's you don't know what 6'7", 280 is until you're like, oh shit, that's what LeBron 6'8", 280
and running and jumping full speed.
I'm trying to dunk right now. You know, I'm 6'1" on a good day, 37 years old.
Yep.
And
knees. It's
fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Like we've just done basic. My trainer is just giving me basic like knee exercises, and every day I'm like, I can't walk for like 2 days afterwards. So like I have very like regularly have crazy admiration for like the athleticism of NBA players, but when I'm high, I'm just like, they're so big and so fast, and it's just poetry to me.
Yeah, it's like awe. You're in awe of it
Yeah.
all. It's like seeing a huge waterfall or something. You're just like, holy shit!
like that's
and they're
what
going that fast, and they're going hockey. The same thing. Like when people are going, sports are dope, and I'm not a jock in any way.
Sports are sick, dude.
But at the same time, it's just like the more we're going online, the more being an active lifestyle is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, my question is, any 37-year-olds in the NBA right now can dunk or dunking like on a nightly basis?
LeBron James is 38 and still remains probably the best basketball player on the planet right now.
Holy shit.
You know, Steph Curry is 35 and put up 50 points the other night. Like Game 7, 50 points. Greatest performance in a Game 7 ever.
The human body's amazing.
Yes.
You just got to treat it right. And, I think all those guys smoke. Not all of them. I can't say they all smoke weed, but I'd say a lot of professional athletes lean on cannabis, especially probably post-career.
I think, yeah, sure. A few players have started weed farms and are getting into the weed space. I think the NBA just lifted weed as a banned substance or whatever, like because they recognize that all these athletes use it to recover or for their own wellness or whatever.
And now it's jobs, like this space that we're here at Alta, shout out Alta, like it's just like people are owning weed, companies, and people are running farm. Jim Belushi has a farm.
Really?
Yeah, he has a farm out there. All these guys do. But is there any weed material in your new special?
Is there any weed material in my new special? Loosely, very loosely.
You talk about eating the edible, don't you?
No, it was, and this is a true thing. So when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, okay, so I did some research. There's this hormone that makes sure that it gets elevated if you have cancer. It's HCG. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, what else can elevate this? Like, how do I make sure that this is not a false positive? I did a little digging, and I read this article that says this hormone that's elevated if you have cancer is also elevated. Might also get elevated if you smoke a lot of weed. And the Friday before I had my blood work done, I was out with my boys. It was like my birthday weekend, and I was like, took a bong. I was at my friend's place and took just a straight huge bong hit. And I was fucked up. And then the next day I had to go get blood work. And so like, part of me, when I read the article, was like, oh shit, is this because I just smoked so much weed that I have HCG like elevated? Like, or is it because I actually have testicular cancer? And then I called my doctor and he was like, you're an idiot. Weed has no impact on HCG. It's like whatever you read is like been debunked like 20 years ago. And then I read it's like nothightimes.com, just some bullshit. And then I found a Hopkins study
on all that stuff, man. Yeah, cancer's tricky, and you're so brave, dude. Even talking to Nimesh, thank you for your time. We'll bring on Mookie. You're special. I just wanted to go lucky Lefty. He talks about testicular cancer in a really funny way.
Thank you.
Dude, the clips are amazing. It's shot beautifully. and how honest you are. It's brave.
Oh, thank you, man. I am a hero, everybody. Make sure you guys know. No, but I just really had, like, when I started the tour out last February, and, you know, I say this in the special, but, like, I literally had nothing to talk about. And, like, it was weighing on me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'd taken...
This was after your third special?
After Thank You, China, which was shot in December of 2021, I had a month in January where I had to go to the cities that I hadn't been to. And then I was taking a 2-week break before I went back out on the road and like started going back to those same cities. And like I literally had no material. And I was like, and like if you know anything about stand-up, like it's hard to go back to the same city that you were just at and do the same hour.
Yeah.
That's like I know people do it and I get it. I understand it, but it really was something I didn't want to do.
Not in the new age of the internet and how wise everybody's going with podcasting and absorbing content now.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different ball game. And you write, like I kind of play the middle of it. I like to keep like 7 gems around that I have, and I haven't put in many specials around, but you still got to go new. Like there just comes a point where your body and your mind's like, this is some weird old suit that I'm wearing, and I gotta go like push it because it's in that time and place. And that's what I was saying, like, that's the best stand-up is in the moment. And you had to address, you took a curveball, my man.
Yes, I did.
You took a wild curveball and you kept your head about it. I never knew you were going through this all because it was all during the pandemic and all this.
It was last year, but it was.
And you kept it kind of low.
Well, because I knew I was going to be talking about it on stage. Yeah. And it's also like, who the fuck is going around telling people they got cancer? Hey, I got cancer. Like, I didn't want to. I was like almost mildly embarrassed that it had happened, but more just like I knew I was going to be talking about it on stage, so I didn't want to start doing bits to people when I'm talking to them about shit. You know, it was just like.
That's so funny, man. You are a professional that way. You knew you could. Yeah.
It was supposed, like, I called Mookie like 2 days after surgery, and I told him what happened in terms of there's a bit in the special about getting my balls shaved, and he died of laughter, and I was like, all right, yeah, this is like going to be a special thing that just happened, you know. I got molested by a Filipino guy.
You got prepped for the porn, my man.
Yes, I did.
You got prepped for the Filipino porn. Mookie is the best. Let's bring him in. My buddy, one of my favorite dudes in comedy, a guy I've worked with on short films, and he's done the podcast. He's a friend of the podcast. Give it up for Mookie Thompson, everybody. The director.
What's up, guys?
He's not very good with shot selection. The whole special shot
How's
from
that
behind.
shot looking, Yanni? We're good? Mm-hmm. But Mookie, so you directed this special.
That's right.
And what does that job entail?
Yelling at me?
Mostly teaching him how to say words like birthday and sister.
Yeah, it's failed miserably.
Yeah, that was weeks of effort. Tongue twisters, a lot of dancing and singing drills.
He's not lying.
You have to go through.
I will wake up every morning and like yell "Dead Wrong" by Biggie Smalls at my computer screen, and my wife would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Relax and take notes."
Months of wardrobe fittings, and, makeup and hair. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with, you want to make someone like him look presentable on camera. That could take teams of people, multiple teams.
I heard you got the best cameras in the business, man.
Yeah, we got one of each. One of each of the best cameras.
Listen, man.
You got 2 shots. You got this shot. You got that shot.
That's right.
And stand-up, I did see it, dude. It's shot beautifully and it's lit beautifully. It looks awesome. I love the hard line mic.
It's aesthetically, I think, one of the best specials. It just looks fucking insane.
It's a testament to what can happen if you try just a little harder.
Yes. It's a lot like Nimesh's style. Like it's definitely like no apologies, just like straight up mic, Because even throwing back to Matchless back in the day, like we used to do this show over here on Mondays, and you guys would go up there, because I would always try to kill, but you guys wouldn't always kill. You guys would just go up there and just like...
That's a nice way to say it.
Yeah,
we'd be bombing.
Yeah, he certainly did not always kill.
Going down, but in the cool way. Like, I don't know, you and Shay both developed your act there.
Yes,
I could
for
tell
sure.
And then I was like, oh, these guys are smart. They're fucking looking at this as a place to write material every week. And they really don't care how the crowd reacts. And I just think, that, I wasn't trying to rag on you.
Let me stop you right there. I cared deeply. I just didn't show it or tried not to show it at all. If you saw me sweating, that was me caring. Every bead of sweat was me like, man, why don't these people like me?
Tell a joke. Try that.
Shut up, Becky.
That room would go quiet. That room you could never tell. It was a Wild West. Like, I would go up there and have literally like the best set of my life doing the most half-ass material. And then I would go in there, try to kill and bomb like I'd never, like I couldn't, it was always
They could smell it.
Yeah, and that was it. If you tried, the whole room turned on you immediately.
Yeah.
Everybody could tell. It was
be real, man.
Man, we all suck. Just suck.
It's really what it was.
That was the vibe.
Yeah.
That was the vibe, which is good and bad, you know.
Man.
But it was what it was.
That show made me too comfortable with bombing. Like, just too much, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you learn that shit quick on the road when you start doing it for real money. Like, they don't want you bombing too long.
No. Thankfully, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, you guys have had successful tours, and Mookie, you went out with them, right? Like, for the last year before this, like, special. You guys
2 years
for them for a minute.
I did like a huge tour with them right after like shit opened up from lockdown, and then this tour I wasn't on all of it, but I saw so much of it over the years that I knew everything.
But that was probably the most important.
I probably have like 1 or 2 words in almost every bit. You know what I mean?
That's probably.
Mookie can tag some jokes.
It's one of the most important things in terms of special work is. I don't think I'd ever do a special again with someone who hadn't seen the set from beginning to end, like at least like a billion times.
Yeah.
Like he saw it a trillion times. He was there. Again, like I said, I was like on the phone with him 2 days after the surgery, and he was dying of laugh. I was like, okay, I got it. And I knew it was going to be something that I was going to have to iterate a billion times, and turn into a special. So it's important to have that from the jump.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you could direct a comedy special like throughout its entire development, it gives you a huge advantage, you know, or like you're going to get a lot more out of it than somebody who comes in to a finished product and just decides, okay, I'm just going to start directing this, right?
Yeah.
So I think we just took a different approach to directing in the sense, because like there is the one argument of someone's coming in, applying their visual aesthetic and like their ability to control shots and their idea of what a special should look like. Then there's the other approach, which is almost like Daniel Day-Lewis-ish, of like being in it from the fucking jump. Like this is it. I wrote this, I created, I'm gonna fucking be this thing, and that's what Mookie did.
And also the idea of just what he's saying is developing the look of it and everything, just basing that all on the material and the comic from the ground up, which is something that seems to almost never be done in modern specials, where they're always just trying to make something look aesthetically pleasing in a commercial way, and that's literally where it ends. It's like there's no real thought put into this. Like this, if we had him coming out on stage with colorful lights going back and forth and fucking big band music, and then he's like, I had cancer, that would be ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It would have been funny.
You go either or.
He's got a leather suit on.
And you're tossing the dice on that one.
It's like, just as a public service announcement to all comedians, just stop trying to dress cool in your special, because you are failing miserably every time, bro. Just literally just wear your clothes, and you're good. I mean, that's probably not much better, honestly. But it's the thing is, when you try
Mookie came out here to talk shit.
Don't put, that's why we put him in black pants and a black shirt. And there was a lot of debate over exactly how to do it, but we always knew that it was going to be less is more with everything, and like the outfit is like there's nothing to look at but his stupid face telling the jokes.
Yeah, the lights are really simple in the background. Hear the jokes. I love the hardline mic. What my overview note to that, like because you were with it from the ground up.
Notes.
Yeah, I got notes. Is it does take more of a film vibe. The special has more of a filmmaking
That was on
vibe.
purpose too.
Yeah, and then Mookie just did some short films. I've worked with Mookie on short films, and he's great to work with, doing audio and visual stuff. Not woodworking or anything, but
Inside joke alert.
But so I guess that's what I think it's dope, man. Is you got that kind of film aesthetic to it because it's like played out, laid out.
And I think that's another thing that's kind of lost on a lot of people making comedy specials is that you're literally making a film, and like there's like simple tenets of filmmaking that are not even considered in the process of making a special. Like, how are we going to light this based on how we want people to feel while they're watching it? You know what I mean? Simple thing. What kind of lenses are we going to use to create the aesthetic that we want? Is that like this is going to be some shit talking again, but we interviewed with production companies to make the special, and I asked one guy, what kind of cameras do you use? And he just said HD. And that was the beginning and the end of his answer, you know what I mean? And it's like, then we ended up going somewhere else where they really cared a lot more about the specific aesthetics of what camera and what lens is going to get you for each shot and this and that. And then, that's just filmmaking stuff that is normal when you're making anything else that doesn't go into specials.
Mm-hmm. And I don't have much of an eye for stuff. I know my skill set. And it's not like, oh, this is what I want to feel when I'm watching this thing. It's more just like I'm such a basic bitch when it comes to, like, my favorite movie is Bad Boys 2. Greatest movie of all time.
No, you're a joke machine. Yeah, you're just out there writing jokes, man. I get it.
So when it came to achieving the aesthetic this time and the feel of it all, I relayed that. I relayed that a lot more effectively this time than I did on previous work. But I also knew that of the people that I know that know movies, like this is the guy.
Oh yeah.
And so that was like the decision that went into it, and he knew the material obviously. So
Totally.
I think we achieved a very aesthetically like damn near flawless. I'm sure Mookie, was very mad that I didn't have more money for him to.
I mean, yeah, man.
You wanted an hologram Tupac.
With another 30 grand.
A floating ball of my balls.
I wanted him to ascend to the ceiling at the end.
Instead, I just went up the stairs into some like white light, But for what we had, I think we made a lot out of it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. That's great.
And if you want one, all you need is about 100 grand.
For him.
And
One
then,
Lamborghini.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple ounces of weed and a Chipotle card.
Yeah. And we'll do you up.
We'll do you right up. But I appreciate you fellas being on the podcast. We can wrap it up, right? What do you think, Yoni? We're about probably 40 minutes or so.
Yep.
Nimesh, tell the good people where to see your special.
YouTube, Lucky Lefty, or I lost my right nut and all I got was this stupid special. That's the full title. Yeah. When it wins a Grammy, they're gonna have to say that.
Oh yeah.
Mookie, you want to plug anything, my man?
No.
Nimesh, thank you so much for being here, taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Enjoy some weed. We have some Henry pre-rolls. Thank you, Alta. These are great. I love these pre-rolls. If you can ever come around with these, that's the goods. Coffee's from Muzz.
Right in the street.
Right around the corner. I want to give them a plug. And yeah, that's it, guys.
All right.
All right. Peace and love.
All right, so get out of here. We're staying.
Peace and love.